Today's read aloud is called The Journal of a 12-Year-Old on the Erie Canal. A canal is a deep, wide ditch dug by people to allow water to move from a river or lake to another place. During the time of westward expansion in the United States, people were very innovative, and canals were built to connect rivers to lakes or other rivers. By using canals, steamboats, and other types of boats, Americans were able to travel to more places. One very famous canal, named the Erie Canal, was built between Lake Erie, one of the 5 Great Lakes, and the Hudson River. Soon, other states, including Ohio and Pennsylvania, built canals, and by the 1830s there was an all-water route from New York to New Orleans. By the 1840s, there were more than 3,000 miles of canals in the United States. This time in the history of our country is known as the Canal Era. An era is a period of time, so the Canal Era was the period of time when canals greatly increased the westward movement of people. Let's take a look at some vocabulary words in our read aloud today. The first word is Erie Canal. A 363-mile-long man-made waterway created during the early 1800s to join the Hudson River to Lake Erie in New York State. The next word is freight. Goods that are moved from one place to another by ship, train, truck, wagon, or airplane. And the last word is tow. To pull or haul. In today's read aloud, you will be listening to what a young boy has written about his adventures on the Erie Canal. The story in this read aloud is fictional, but based on the real people in our country who worked on the Erie Canal during the Canal Era. I want you to listen carefully to determine the main topic of the read aloud and to learn what life was like living on the Erie Canal during westward expansion. Let's begin. Paul and I have been making our way along the Erie Canal from Albany to Buffalo to date at a good steady pace. We're traveling on our brand new flatboat. A flatboat is a big flatboat on which we carry goods and products along the Erie Canal. Well, to be honest, the flatboat isn't quite ours yet, but almost. Last night, Pa told me, when we reach Buffalo, we will have made the last payment on this flatboat. Then it's ours at last. You see, we made a deal with Mr. Franklin that every time we take the flatboat up and back for him, part of our pay goes toward buying the flatboat for ourselves. It has taken 3 years of hard work. We are really excited to actually own the flatboat, because then we will be able to keep all the money we earn on each trip we make. Ma and Sis are waiting for us in Buffalo. I can't wait to see them again. I love being on the flatboat with Pa, but all the work we do makes us tired. The thing is, I don't know exactly how many more days it will take to get to Buffalo. It depends on how much of the freight we sell along the way. The more we sell, the less the flatboat will weigh, and the faster we will be able to travel. Sometimes a store owner or manufacturer at some town or village asks us to add his products onto our flatboat. Every time we take more goods on board, it slows down our travel. My favorite part of helping Pa is that I get to care for the mules. We have such a big flatboat that it takes 3 mules to tow it. They walk on the towpath next to the canal and pull the ropes that are connected to the flatboat. Some smaller flatboats along the canal are 1-mule flatboats, or sometimes horses or oxen do the pulling. Before folks built the Erie Canal, it took longer to move things from the east westward. Because a flatboat floats on water, it's much easier to transport heavy freights like coal and wood. Plus, you don't need to worry about a wagon wheel breaking on the trail. Not only that, it costs less money to travel on the canals than over land. Pa says that for every dollar it used to cost to travel on land, it now costs only about a dime to travel on the canal's water. Because the canal made it so much easier and faster to head westward, many people moved west to farm or build new cities. See, Pa explained to me that moving out to the west seemed like a good idea once the people there knew they could sell whatever they grew or made to folks back in the east, as well as to people in the west. It's amazing how much the Erie Canal changed things here. It's hard to imagine a time without it. Lucky for us, today was a really great day for traveling up the canal. In nice weather, we can travel a lot of miles. When it's stormy though, like it was a couple of weeks ago, it is not so pleasant. It was snowing so much we nearly had to stop right where we were. The snow was coming down so heavily you couldn't see your hand if you held it out right in front of you. Fortunately, our mules are always able to stay on the path, even in a snowstorm, so I just let them lead the way and they bring us safely to the next town. Anyway, I think that's about it for now. I'm pretty tired after all of the work today. I think it's time for me to get some sleep, so I'm ready to work on the flatboat tomorrow. Let's take a look at our timeline. In the last read aloud, we added the steamboat to our timeline. In today's read aloud, we talked about the Erie Canal. It was first used in 1825, which was almost 20 years after the first voyage of Robert Fulton's steamboat. Where should we put this on our timeline? Since it was about 20 years after the first voyage of Robert Fulton's steamboat, we will put it right here on our timeline. Here are some discussion questions. Feel free to pause the video in order to allow time to think and discuss. What was the main topic of the read aloud? Who wrote the journal entry that you just heard? What is the setting for this story? Why were the canals built in the United States in the 1800s? The boy and his father were not traveling on the Erie Canal because they wanted to move to the west like the family in the first read aloud. They traveled back and forth because of their work. What kind of work did they do? How were mules and other animals important on the Erie Canal? What problems did boats on the canal face? How did canals like the Erie Canal increase westward expansion? Would you like to have worked on a flatboat on the Erie Canal? Why or why not?